password you pick for social media sites could be putting you at a higher risk for identity theft. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you have ever had a MySpace account, you may be affected by a recent hack. Millions of passwords and email addresses have been stolen by criminals. Experts think Russian hackers are selling that information online.
Now, if you don't use MySpace anymore, your old information could have been compromised. And if you have never used MySpace, the passwords you're using for Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media could be putting you at risk for a similar attack. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson explains.
A lot of people have weak passwords. As a consequence, they end up getting hacked.
The recent MySpace hack should be a learning lesson, according to experts.
I knew a person who said, oh, they've got the perfect password. I use my social security number. Oh, no, you don't ever punch that in somewhere.
Technical service manager Dave Logering says the biggest mistake people make is using the same password across a variety of sites. If a hacker gets into one, it's a higher risk of getting into everything.
Think of it as a key that you could have made that would start your car, get you into your car, get you into your house, get you into your lake home and start your boat. If you lost a copy of your key or somebody got a copy of that key, they'd have access to everything that you have.
Often when you're signing up for a website like Netflix, a blog, or online shopping, you can select to sign in through Facebook. And if something goes wrong, Logering says everything could go wrong.
You're trading off security for convenience is what we're really doing.
And where it really goes wrong is when your credit card or bank account information is saved.
I do the same thing on my phone. I'm guilty of that.
Using strong passwords and different ones for each site is key. Logering also says don't forget to change them often. Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
Logering bought an Xbox recently from a pawn shop, and when he plugged it in, there was still credit card information saved on it. He says allowing your computer, phone, or other device to save passwords can be dangerous too.
The death of a University of Minnesota student 2 years ago has led to a new Minnesota law. Jake Anderson was found dead, and the only possible clues to his death may be in a cell phone his family can't access. Jake's phone was in his parents' name and on his parents' contract. Since he didn't have a will, his family doesn't have his passwords and has no legal right to see what's on it. A new law that will start August 1st will make that possible. It'll let you decide who can open your computer, social media, and email if you die or become incapacitated. Minnesota is one of the first states to pass such a bill. Lawmakers and attorneys say they hope as Minnesotans become familiar with the new law, digital access will become a standard part of writing a will.
Federal officials in Minneapolis say there will be no civil rights charges filed against 2 officers connected to the fatal shooting of Jamar Clark. The decision was announced today. The 24-year-old Clark was fatally shot by police last November during a confrontation with officers responding to a reported assault. Federal authorities say that the months-long investigation into the shooting did not establish sufficient evidence to charge the 2 officers involved. Authorities also detailed their extensive investigation and say that witness statements about whether or not Clark was handcuffed at the time of the shooting were contradictory.
Today kicked off Adopt a Shelter Cat Month, and this next story is why many people say that's the way to go when looking for a new pet. Corrine Jewell is a cat mom through and through. She lost 2 of her cats after having them for almost 2 decades. Jewell's friend decided to cheer her up by surprising her with a kitten she found online, but wound up getting scammed.
You live in a city, there's animals everywhere that need a home. Don't go online. We're in that society, unfortunately, where people will take advantage of you. Just go to your local shelter.
Shelters in the area are offering discounts on cat adoptions the whole month of June. This story came to us through our Whistleblower Hotline. If you need help uncovering an issue in your community, here's some advice. Give us a call at 701-237-6576. Do that and leave your tip.
The Bank of North Dakota has a way to help people with student loans and buy a home. A spokesperson says the bank is offering what's called Deal 1 loans with variable interest rates of 2.13% or a fixed rate of 4.7%. To qualify, you need to either be a North Dakota resident or have a current North Dakota address for at least 6 months. If you don't meet the bank's credit criteria, a loan could be approved using a credit-worthy cosigner. We have more information on the Deal 1 loan over at valleynewslive.com. The city of West Fargo kicks off its first day of water flushing. Flushing began at 8 this morning and will continue flushing around the clock. They started the day by emptying out the water tower and then filling it back up, then moved on to local neighborhoods around 40th Avenue and Cheyenne High School.
Tomorrow we're going to be flushing into Eagle Run and the Shadowwood area, so we're slowly working our way north. It's going pretty quickly on the south side of the interstate. We kind of expected that with the newer pipes and less use down that area.
The city of West Fargo wants to remind residents that you can view where flushing is being done online, and we have that information at valleynewslive.com.
A 120-year-old house near the Rose Creek Golf Course in South Fargo will be moving. The city of Fargo has reached an agreement with the owners of the historic Kinsler home. Valley News Team's Giovanna Simic talked with the owner and has details.
After months of negotiations,
we're very happy working with the city that an alternative was found.
Don Kinsler moved this house here from Fergus Falls in early 1990s. It was built in 1895.
The house is in the way of the flood diking plans, and so we were able to find a new lot working with the city about 20 blocks farther south.
The Kinsler House will relocate to 64th Avenue South in Fargo.
The struggle we had was trying to find a location where the house would look like, oh, that's where that type of house should be, and yet the public could enjoy it as well.
The agreement cost the city more than $800,000 that included the move. The city will assume ownership of this land, which will allow for construction of a flood levee project.
It'll be much easier to defend the area around Rose Creek, and one of the things that the commission has asked the engineering department is to tuck in all those neighborhoods around the Rose Creek area.
The advantages are of course, a historic house is being preserved, and the city will be able to do the flood protection that is needed.
In Fargo, Giovanna Simic, Valley News Live.
The house is going to be moved in July. The city expects to complete the Rose Creek levee project by next year.
In just over 2 weeks, runners, walkers, and supporters of our law enforcement community are getting together to honor officers killed in the line of duty. The Officers Down 5K is happening on Saturday, June 18th. There's a 1-mile walk, a kids' fun run, and community day. This is the second annual Officers Down 5K in Fargo. Volunteers are needed, so if you'd like to get registered, head to valleynewslive.com and click on the Community tab at the top of our homepage.